It looks like just another coin in your pocket. But what if that simple Australia 50 cents coin is actually hiding a secret that collectors around the world are desperately searching for right now? What if the coin you ignore every day could be the one that turns into a life-changing discovery, with auctions pushing rare versions into shocking prices that most people would never believe? Before you spend it, you need to look closer, because some of these coins are not just change, they are hidden treasures. It looks like an ordinary 50-cent coin in your pocket, something you might ignore in loose change, drop into a jar, or spend without a second thought. But what if that single coin, specifically the Australia 50 cents 2010 coin, is not just change, but a hidden key to a life-changing fortune? What if collectors around the world are quietly hunting for it right now, willing to pay insane amounts of money just to get their hands on one rare version? Because in the world of modern numismatics, even the most common-looking coin can turn into a mystery worth thousands, or even tens of thousands of dollars. The story of the Australia 50-cent coin begins long before 2010, when Australia introduced one of the most iconic circulating coins in the world. The 50-cent piece is instantly recognizable because of its unique shape and large size compared to other coins in circulation. Originally introduced in 1969, it replaced the round silver 50-cent coin due to rising silver prices, and since then it has become a canvas for Australia's most important commemorations, historical events, and cultural celebrations. By 2010, the Royal Australian Mint had already turned the 50-cent coin into something more than just currency. It had become a storytelling device, a collectible, and in some cases, a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Now imagine holding the Australia 50 cents 2010 coin in your hand. At first glance, it looks normal. It carries the familiar design language of Australian coinage, strong, detailed, and meaningful. But what most people don't realize is that certain coins from this year may contain subtle variations, minting quirks, and rare error strikes that make them highly desirable to collectors. The standard 2010 50-cent coin was issued to commemorate significant national themes, and it was struck using a copper-nickel composition, giving it durability and a distinct metallic shine. It weighs around 15.55 grams and maintains the classic dodecagonal shape that has made the Australian 50-cent piece so iconic across generations. But here is where the story becomes truly interesting, because not all 2010 50-cent coins are equal. Some were struck with minor minting inconsistencies, slight design misalignments, or unusual strike characteristics that escaped early quality control. And in the world of coin collecting, these imperfections are not mistakes, they are treasures. Collectors have been known to pay huge premiums for coins that show doubling effects, off-center strikes, or limited run variations that were never intended for mass release. And this is exactly why serious numismatists are constantly searching through rolls, jars, and old collections, hoping to find that one overlooked piece. Across auction houses, whispers have circulated about rare Australian 50-cent coins selling for shocking prices when the right collector enters the room. In some cases, unique error coins or highly preserved specimens in near-perfect condition have sparked bidding wars that drive prices far beyond expectations. While most standard coins remain face value, the possibility of a rare variant keeps the excitement alive. And that is why people never stop searching. Because all it takes is one discovery, one coin, to completely change everything. Think about it for a moment. That coin could be sitting in your home right now. It could be mixed in with spare change on a kitchen counter, hidden in an old jar, or forgotten in a drawer. And while it looks ordinary, someone somewhere is actively hunting for it, studying auction catalogs, tracking collector forums, and analyzing mint records, all in hopes of finding the exact variation that turns a simple 50-cent piece into a collector's dream. The 2010 issue is particularly intriguing because it sits in a period where the Royal Australian Mint was producing a variety of commemorative designs and experimenting with detailed engraving techniques. Coins from this era can sometimes show subtle differences in strike quality depending on production batches. And even the smallest difference can transform a coin from common currency into a sought-after collectible. That is the hidden world of numismatics, where detail is everything, and value is often determined by things invisible to the untrained eye. Collectors often describe the feeling of finding a rare coin as addictive, almost like a treasure hunt that never ends. Imagine going through a handful of coins and suddenly noticing something different. The shine, the strike, the alignment. That moment of realization has changed lives before. Ordinary people have discovered rare coins and sold them for hundreds, thousands, and in extremely rare documented cases, even more. And that is why the Australia 50-cent 2010 coin continues to attract attention even years after its release. Auction houses play a major role in building this mystery. When a rare coin appears, even once, It creates a ripple effect across the collecting community. Prices rise, demand increases, and suddenly everyone is checking their change again. Some high-grade or error versions of Australian commemorative coins have historically fetched impressive results, especially when certified by professional grading services. And while not every coin will reach extraordinary value, the possibility is always there, and that is what keeps the hunt alive. Now here comes the part that makes collectors pay attention. Because in extremely rare cases, when a 2010 Australia 50-cent coin exhibits a significant mint error, flawless preservation, or unique variation confirmed by experts, its value can skyrocket far beyond face value. We are talking about prices that can reach into the thousands, and in the most exceptional, documented collector-driven auction scenarios, even figures approaching up to $80,000 have been discussed in relation to rare numismatic anomalies and highly prized specimens that share similar characteristics. And just imagine that for a second. A coin you once thought was worth nothing more than 50 cents could potentially be worth more than a luxury car. That is the kind of transformation that keeps collectors searching every single day. That is why coin experts never dismiss anything too quickly. Because history has proven again and again that treasures do not always come in gold bars or ancient relics. Sometimes they come in everyday change. So now the question becomes unavoidable. Do you have one? Is there a 2010 Australia 50-cent coin sitting unnoticed in your possession right now? Because if there is even a chance that yours belongs to one of these rare variations, it might be worth taking a much closer look. The difference between face value and life-changing value often comes down to a tiny detail that most people would never notice. And that is the real thrill of this story. Not just the coin itself, but the possibility hidden inside it. The idea that something so ordinary could secretly be extraordinary. The idea that collectors are still searching. The idea that auctions are still happening. The idea that someone, somewhere, might already be holding a fortune without even realizing it. Because in the end, the Australia 50-cent 2010 coin is not just metal. It is a mystery. It is a chase. It is a reminder that value is not always obvious at first glance. And if you are lucky enough to find the right version, in the right condition, with the right rare characteristics, it could truly change your life in a way you never expected. At first glance, it looks completely ordinary. Just another heavy, oddly shaped coin sitting in your pocket change. But what if that single piece of metal, the Australian 1983 50-cent coin, is quietly connected to a hidden world of collectors, auctions, and desperate searches happening right now across the globe? What if the coin you once spent without thinking could actually be part of a rare story that still shocks collectors today? Because sometimes, the most overlooked coins are the ones that carry the most surprising secrets, and people who understand that are always watching, always searching, always hoping to find the next big discovery. The Australia 50-cent coin itself is one of the most iconic pieces in modern circulation. Issued by Australia and produced by the Royal Australian Mint, this coin has been part of everyday life since the late 1960s, when Australia made the bold decision to replace its original round silver 50-cent piece due to rising silver costs. From that moment onward, the 50-cent coin transformed into a large, 12-sided copper-nickel design that would become instantly recognizable in pockets, wallets, and cash registers across the nation. Now focus closely on the 1983 issue. The Australian 1983 50 cents coin carries that same distinctive dodecagonal shape, weighing approximately 15.55 grams and struck in a copper-nickel composition designed for durability and long-term circulation. On one side, it features the dignified portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, a symbol of the era, while the reverse displays the detailed Australian coat of arms designed by Stuart Devlin, a powerful emblem featuring the kangaroo and emu supporting the shield. At first glance, nothing seems unusual. Nothing seems rare. Nothing seems special. But that is exactly where most people make their mistake. Because in the world of coin collecting, value is not always about what a coin is supposed to be. It's about what it accidentally becomes. The 1983 50-cent coin was produced in large numbers for circulation, meaning millions entered everyday use. Most of them are still only worth face value today. But hidden within those millions, collectors believe there may exist subtle variations, condition anomalies, and rare minting quirks that dramatically change their desirability. Slight differences in strike quality, surface texture, or alignment can turn an ordinary coin into something that serious numismatists begin to track, compare, and even compete for at auction. And this is where the story becomes addictive. Because somewhere out there, collectors are not just casually interested in this coin, they are actively searching. Searching through rolls of change. searching through old collections, searching through auction catalogs, searching for anything that looks slightly different from the rest. And every time a coin like this appears in exceptional condition or shows unusual characteristics, attention spreads quickly across the collecting world. Imagine a coin that has survived decades without damage. A 1983 50-cent piece that somehow avoided scratches, wear, and circulation marks. To most people, it's still just 50 cents. But to a collector, it becomes something else entirely, a preserved snapshot of history, a near-perfect example of a design that millions once used and discarded without a second thought. And in rare cases, when coins like this are professionally graded in near-perfect condition, they can attract serious bidding interest at auctions. Because in the auction world, two things matter more than anything else: rarity and condition. Even coins that were once common can rise in value when they are preserved at extraordinary quality levels, or when they show verified mint errors that escaped quality control during production. This is why auction houses occasionally become battlegrounds. Collectors don't just buy coins, they compete for them. And when a rare or exceptional example of an Australian 50-cent coin appears, prices can escalate quickly as collectors try to secure what they believe is a unique opportunity. Some rare Australian error coins and high-grade specimens from similar eras have historically reached impressive auction results, sometimes climbing into the thousands and, in extremely rare and documented numismatic cases, even higher depending on uniqueness and provenance. And that's when people start asking the question that changes everything. What if I already have one? Because the truth is, most people never check. Most people never look closely. A coin is just a coin, until it isn't. Until someone notices a detail that others missed. Until a professional grading service confirms something unusual. Until an auction listing suddenly draws global attention. And suddenly, a forgotten piece of change becomes the center of a bidding war. The 1983 50-cent coin sits in that fascinating space between common and potentially collectible. It is not rare in the traditional sense, but it becomes interesting in the right condition, with the right characteristics, and in the right collector market environment. That uncertainty is exactly what keeps collectors engaged. Because uncertainty creates opportunity, and opportunity creates obsession. And here is what makes this even more intense. Coins like this have a habit of surprising people. A coin found in an old drawer. A coin inherited in a collection. A coin ignored for decades. Then one day, it is examined more closely, and everything changes. What looked ordinary suddenly reveals itself as something far more desirable in the eyes of collectors. This is why numismatics is often compared to treasure hunting. Because every coin is a possibility. Every handful of change is a mystery. Every old jar of coins could contain something that someone, somewhere, is willing to pay far more for than anyone ever expected. So if you are holding onto coins from the past, especially something like the Australian 1983 50-cent coin, it might be worth looking again. Not because every coin is valuable, but because history has proven that the rarest discoveries are often hiding in the most familiar places. And that is the real suspense behind this story. Not just the coin itself, but the possibility it represents. The idea that value can be hiding in plain sight. The idea that collectors are still searching. The idea that auctions are still happening. And the idea that someone, somewhere, might already be holding something special without even realizing it. Because in the end, this is not just about a 50-cent coin. It is about attention. It is about detail. It is about timing. And it is about the small chance that what you thought was ordinary might actually be extraordinary. And when that moment comes, when the right coin meets the right collector at the right auction, the results can be shocking, with exceptional specimens of rare coins sometimes reaching values that climb into the tens of thousands of dollars depending on rarity, condition, and demand, turning something once worth pocket change into a life-changing discovery that nobody saw coming.